From Bungoma, Gongwa, MONBASA, MVITA, the spirit of survival. All things have a way of self-sustenance and self-defense. When you use certain drugs on a virus or viruses, the virus learns to mutate. In that it reaches a certain time, those drugs are not effective on it. That's why drugs like Fancida can no longer deal with malaria, plasmodium, the way they used to. When put on in a stressing situation, our bodies prepare to fight or for flight. Walk continuously on bare feet and the skin creates a hard sole by cracking and hardening. For those who walked sometimes on bare feet when we were young, that used to happen. Your foot cracks, and we would go to play football with some schools that had children of the affluent. They had shoes, but you would still be able to hurt their feet in the shoe with your bare foot. You've seen in karate movies, or when you're a boxer, you practice hitting things, and eventually your hand becomes hard. You practice focusing power, force on one spot. That's what's done in karate. And you can hit with almost the force of your whole body on a single spot. That's why you see people can be able to break ice cubes. People can be able to break wood with a karate chop, with a karate punch, with a forehead, because the body learns to focus that energy in one spot. As living things do that, also non-living things do the same. When it rains, soil on a higher level is pushed on a lower level, trying to sustain a balance. So living things are always balancing, non-living things, according to us, because we don't really know if they are actually non-living things or unprogrammed things. There is always the saying that we have, water finds its own level. If you exceed a certain level, the water cannot flow up, or it cannot flow down, but it flows from a higher level to a lower level. These are common things that happen in our everyday life. I have a story to give. There was a video I watched of people going to the moon. America had made many trips to the moon. They started with Apollo 1, Apollo whatever, and it reached a point now when Apollo 13 was flying to the moon for a landing mission on a place they had identified. They would do some scientific experiments and then return back to Earth. They took off nicely. When they had gone some distance, there was an explosion. They didn't realize what it was. When they went, they realized that the spacecraft was losing power. And the air system had been messed up. And that time they are in space. You know, in space, if you lack air, you die. And you die badly, because what happens is the volume outside is slower than the volume inside you. Your body will start boil, your blood will boil in your veins, in your body, before you freeze. So that was the situation they were in. Now they started fighting for survival. The system were almost going blank. The Earth team now, because there is a team also that controls from the Earth, is communicating. You cannot do any repairs. You cannot send a rescue mission because only one spacecraft goes at a time. They had to struggle communicating with the ground team, making repairs by themselves, and when they reached the moon, they could not land because landing would have meant permanently sticking on the moon. So they had to make a rendezvous. They went around the moon and then now started heading back. Oxygen being contaminated because the oxygen in the original spaceship had gotten damaged. They were using the oxygen that is used on the small module when you are landing on the moon. So there was struggle. The computers could not work. They had to do calculations. They could not find direction, and in space, if you lose direction by inches, the Earth is moving very fast. You will miss the Earth, you will be lost in space forever. Nobody will ever find you. So they had to find the sun's position again, align themselves with the sun, align themselves with the movement of the Earth. They do their calculations, and those on Earth did their calculations. It was a hair-raising return to Earth, a scaring one. They came and they were not sure if they were going to intersect with the Earth. And missing the Earth meant getting lost forever. The supplies were low, you would die and you never return. Nobody will ever know where you are. You will keep floating in space forever. So they all tried all they could, the Earth team and the team in the spacecraft. Eventually, they landed with a lot of problems. They thought the heat shield would not work, but by God's grace it worked, and they had a safe landing in the ocean. What does this thing teach us? I'm going to talk about a great person who won the prestigious position for being the best conserving person in the world who could conserve things in nature. This is Wangari Maathai from Kenya. She won the Nobel Prize. And when she was making her speech, she said words that I always remember. They keep ringing a bell in my mind. She said, Mother Nature is very unforgiving. If you mess with her, she will mess with you, and mess with you badly. What am I trying to say? Out of our carelessness, the ice on the North Pole is not there. The South Pole is melting. It's a very serious thing. It's only that people ignore. The scientists can tell you the extent. In America, where people were drilling for water and all those things, it happens that when that place becomes bare, land is sometimes forced to drop in. So there is a collapsing of land, just like it's collapsing in some places in the Rift Valley where magma formed and there were bubble holes left in within. When you build a dam, it shifts the weight of water. A large mass is displaced from one place in the earth where it was balanced to a different place. The earth has been doing a balancing act. Sometimes it reacts through earthquakes to balance the weight of the water on that side to the other place that has been left now weightless. It's moving in space, it's moving at very high speeds, it's revolving, and it's balancing. So what happens when we keep on messing? The environment hits back. There have been talks of continental shift. some people will take it for granted, but for geographers, because I'm also a geographer, it means that there are times when the earth itself changes. The land inside the ocean rises and the one on dry land submerges. If we mess up with the weights and things like that, or the water and the temperature, you never know. The earth is also an entity. It has got its self-defense. So in the process of balancing itself, we might find ourselves in that mess. It also reacts by volcanic activities, emptying the magma because there is a lot of fire in the earth. And our pressure and misuse of things might result to that too. It has a lot of water within. I don't know if there was a time I had the volume of the water inside the earth mixed with the fire and the magma is almost 10 times what is in our oceans. So what happens? It can decide to react by releasing water. And what will happen? It will balance with the water. We shall end up being a water world. There are places, there are moons that are just water. The surface is water. The whole dry land submerges. It can react in different ways. We have just realized that water, in fact, is a combination of two elements that can burn: hydrogen and oxygen. In case of our messing up, you never know when magma comes. There can even be a point when it can ignite. We become a burning planet as we move. The earth will survive, we will not survive. So now, the thing is this. Because people have talked in conferences, people have talked in meetings, the earth will not plead with us. We are the ones that would lose, not the earth. So, are we ready to learn from the fossils that we find in the North Pole or other places? These animals lived, conditions may have changed, they died out. Or are we preparing to be fossils ourselves for entities that may survive? Because even in the water, they are living things. The earth may generate intelligence in them so that they be seeing these are the fossils of those who messed up with the earth. We don't know about the dinosaurs. You cannot tell their stories. So we may be a story also that cannot be told, but people will be seeing, not people, entities. Because anything can develop the intelligence to that level. Are we ready to change? Or are we ready to have the earth change us, change itself? That is the question we should be asking ourselves. As we fight with greed, trying to destroy the environment, we don't recycle because we can get cheap things cheaply from some places. Remember the saying of Professor Wangari Maathai. Mother Nature is very unforgiving. Mess with her and she will mess with you mercilessly. Nobody understands how the earth works except God. So, are we ready to experiment with the earth on her defenses? Because she will defend herself. She won't go down. We always talk of we shall drop nuclear bombs. We can wipe the earth 60 times. The intelligence we get it from God. We don't know how it, and the earth or whatever you are doing all those things on is also reacting. Also reacting to the whatever is happening on it. We may be surprised when we are thinking of the earth's end. The earth fights back and that's our end. Think about it seriously. Let's do a balancing act. Let's not be reckless. Because Mother Nature is very unforgiving. You have seen tsunamis when they come. When volcanoes erupt, they don't say you are a Christian, you are a Muslim, you are an... It covers you, like in Pompeii. When tsunamis came, when it sweeps the town and everybody in it. So, that's a question to us. Greed enough to die in our greed, or do a balancing act so that God can sustain everything and the earth in order. That is my take for today.